There we go. All right. Thanks, Emily, for co-hosting with me the first MicroProfile marketing call for 2022. Happy 2022 New Year for every contributor, every user, everyone that benefits from MicroProfile. This is January 17th, 2022. Emily, can you make the wording larger, the fonts, please?
Better?
Yes. So there was an emergency for Caitlin, that is the lead for January Stewart. And now Emily and myself are working on sharing logistics. One of the priority discussions that we have in notes is a holiday in the United States. So most of us are in PTO. Some of us are in PTO. So we have only 4 microprofilers in attendance. So we need to be likely cautious on what is discussed and how we do things without the regular contributors. They tend to join these calls. The first issue that we have as a priority item is swag. If you can click, Emily, on the issue 633, that one. We have gotten feedback last week from the Eclipse Foundation. It goes all the way to the bottom. And the first feedback, there were two levels of feedback here. The first one was the word contributor. And the Eclipse Foundation is saying that the foundation will not approve the design with contributors appearing on the t-shirt as if it is another logo. This needs to be reworded, reworked, or whatever we decide to do. The second issue was Jelastic and Payara, who are no longer members of the MicroProfile working group. However, we stated in the issue, where you can see the reply for Caitlin, a little bit above there, Clark, that we are using the budget of 2021, and then that means that the members go into the t-shirt, and that is clear, and it has been clear for printing. So now the brainstorming goes onto, do we remove the contributors wording from the t-shirt? Do we find a way to add it, to re-add it via wording, or just brainstorming, or we oversee our options for a future MicroProfile contributor, MicroProfile committer logos? And I believe that with only 4 of us here, we will need to put this as the main topic for tomorrow's community call to see what others think about this. And Emily, can you please go back into the minutes? We can see, we can show you the design. This on the bottom. Oh, I copied it actually. So yeah, but it's copied and that we don't have to go there. It's here. So here you see it. We're having the word contributor is an issue for the Eclipse Foundation, and it needs to be removed, put someplace else.
I think it's okay. I think it's okay to have it removed. I think it's a good point. I mean, they mentioned is this as if a new logo, because all the others are logos, but this one is not. See, because there's a tagline by the community for the community. So that says a lot already.
What is your take, John and Cesar?
Sorry, on which one?
On the design of the t-shirt.
Yeah, I like it, except Payara, I don't think is in the steering committee anymore.
No, but John, we're using the budget for 2021. There will be a new t-shirt for 2022. So this t-shirt is 2021. So we will keep, the t-shirt will keep Payara and Jelastic. The point is contributors. Payara and Jelastic are not an issue for 2021 t-shirt. We're talking about contributors. What is your take on it? If you have any comments.
I mean, I want to recognize them, but it just feels kind of out of place in a way, because it doesn't, it's not a logo thing with me. It just feels, I don't know, like it's so abstract maybe I don't know. I'll be honest. It just feels it feels weird. You know, you could say community, but you know, contributors I understand too. Community still even, I don't know. Definitely want to recognize them, but it just feels weird. I don't know why.
It feels like odd one out, isn't it?
Yeah, so before Cesar goes, I will say that Emerson and Edwin were very helpful on their input on this. One as a community rep, and the other one as a contributor. And both of them loved this, right? They were core onto pushing for this to, you know, to be shown in the swag. So this is why I'm saying that tomorrow we will pull it into the community. But now, Cesar, what's your take? Do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, so my comment is that I understand that both Emerson and the rest of the contributors can be identified, as I can be identified with contributors, with the word. So maybe this is an opportunity to brainstorm and say, what we don't create a logo for the contributors. Because when you see all the logos of the company and then you see contributors, the first thing that comes up to my mind when I saw this is contributors. Okay, I know that we are referring contributors, but if someone reads, you say Tommy Tribe, Red Hat, Payara, Elastic, and then contributors. Okay, it's another company. You know, we are in the water, so we know what this means, right? And certainly the contributors, as you mentioned, we can get identified by a logo in this case. And I think that, I don't know if that is something that you feel, John, with your comment, that it feels like a new logo, but it's a logo that nobody knows so far. So maybe this is an opportunity to say, okay, we are gonna create this initiative of having some graphical way to say contributor, right?
Yeah. So Cesar, I like totally on this spot on with the logo. We did say that we would like to have what is it, committers logo, because committers is a formal member of the working group. So that needs to be done. So likely, you know, we could discuss the contributors, which I think so important, because before you are a committer, if you are not assigned by a member, you are a contributor, right? So my question is, if we click and zoom into the t-shirt, what about if we move the contributor? Maybe you want to use the Git issue, Emily. I'm horrible with zooming here. So maybe you want to use a Git issue that has the full design, if this is too hard. Because in them, the yellow M below, we have the Twitter handle and the website ID, correct? And how is that? It's just a brainstorming, right? Maybe we move away and stop this conversation for and say just remove it and move forward. But how about, one of my ideas is brainstorming here. We remove the MicroProfile IO and we put below the M, below the M, contributors, contributors. Because the truth is the MicroProfile wouldn't exist without contributors. That means everyone. Go ahead, Cesar.
I have another. I was thinking more on moving the contributors to the yellow section.
But then it will be contributors, but it will community uses the whole, right?
Yeah, my understanding is that contributors, when we are saying contributors, we are saying contributors, committers, right? But so I don't know. Go ahead, Emily.
Sorry. I think
is it covered enough by saying by the community, for the community?
That's a tagline we created years ago that is tweeted, as it uses in the media, so it's very well known by.
Well, then do we need contributors?
Yeah, that's my point as well. Is all I want to try to say is by the community, for the community. What are the community? community is a contributor plus committer. That's a set all. The other point is to be honest, we really need to do this ASAP because we need to get this all done in January. I don't think it's kind of the. I don't think we have enough time to design a logo to go through
No,
like
of course not for now.
contributor and etc.
Yeah,
I think
no.
my vote will be just remove contributor and just do like this and then by the community for the community is good enough.
Yeah, and there's a new tagline that goes into swag. Okay, so I am not writing the minutes, but I should, given that I'm talking, cannot multitask poorly. So then 4 of us are saying to removal. Okay, so then in the minutes, I will write Cesar +1 on removal, correct? Emily +1 on removal and John +1 on removal with me +1 on removal as well, because, and then tomorrow, this will be added on tomorrow's call just to show what was, what we mentioned. And then after that is clear and there are no hiccups with maybe someone else has other ideas, whomever is typing, that is great. Maybe, is that Cesar?
No, it's me. I don't have an edit right anymore.
First of the year, the minutes are public. Caitlin created them, so public edit.
So can Cesar or John, can you edit? Do you have
I'm
an
trying
edit,
now
right?
to edit here.
Yeah, because it's public. So let me see.
Yeah, I'm doing something there.
Yeah, so it's public.
But it's still highlighted. You're not directing. You're just suggesting.
You need to change the editing. Go into editing and you say direct.
I am in editing.
Yeah.
So you
can say editing and instead of suggesting. I think you have suggesting mode, Emily.
No.
No.
No, she's in editing mode the same as I.
Emily,
so
it's because, Emily, sorry, it's because you have anonymous. So how are you leading?
No, that's fine. So it's all of the Google Doc. You don't need to sign in. You try edit yourself, Amelia. I don't.
Yeah, I will. I will say I will add the. Hold on.
Yeah, you are on the suggesting mode as well.
Yeah, I was. I do that so the Caitlin, the main steward, can see what was changed from the last time. She has been managing this since December. Okay, so then in the minutes we will write that we move forward to the removal of contributors for the time being, and we believe that I would say there are the votes, and then tomorrow this will be the one topic that will be shown in the community call. And after that call is completed, if there are no issues with what we have decided here, then we will ask Ryan to update the hoodie and the t-shirt, and then ask Deluxe to delete the current design from the vault. The designer, the printer has 2 places where the designer goes, and every single time there is a new design, it gets deleted. Otherwise, there are mistakes with the print. So we keep it super clean with only 1 printing live most often, at least for MicroProfile. All right. Thanks everyone for the comments and brainstorming. And I will add in the minutes as well that the logo is something for the future, not only for committers, MicroProfile committers, but also maybe with the contributors. That would be based on costs and whatever else that we need to find out. Call to action. So we go, Emily, part 1. It says, there are a few call to actions, and I think this call is great for that, only with 4 of us. It's still great. We have said that MicroProfile will continue to have stewards by month. And if you click on part 1, we have a schedule. And then the spreadsheet needs to be filled out, right? So then we sent these in November. And then now that the year, it will continue to be populated every single time we are in these calls, we will ask if there are contributors, and this is the first time we're showing this. So if you are here and you would like to lead one of these months, that means control the Git issues, make sure that the work is not being stolen, like in the level that lays flat, right? And we need to move forward with work, and most of the work done by microprofilers is 100% done by microprofilers. So this is going to be very important. We have responsibilities, and currently Neha and Caitlin are working on the wiki for this. It's being imported, and that is extremely important because Neha and Caitlin are members of the Garden Estate, and many other stewards for 2021 wrote the documentation when they became onboarding, or when they turned to be onboarding onto the project. So we have actions and words. So the document will be created, and hopefully by next week it's public, so everyone can see what are the responsibilities when you become or choose to become a steward, right? So we're covered for January. If any one of you, I know, John, I always said you shouldn't, because you already do community and steering committee, and I would be really like, what the hell? But Emily, you can choose to maybe on a month if you want to. There is always a co-host. You can invite and on board. Cesar, clearly you volunteer here and there, and it's, you know, we have Ryan from the tribe that can do that as well. So that's it. This is one of the topics that is super important. Questions about this?
So in the past, I can't remember, is who else? Rustan, I think.
Rustan,
Yeah,
yeah, we have in the past Rustan, Neha, Tatiana, Ed.
Yeah.
Like, I know that Vince wants to also do this as well. This year, he wants to do this a lot because he wants to contribute in that form with a bunch of different projects in MicroProfile. But today is a holiday, so we will bring this up in 2 weeks. That is going to be still January for everyone to join. Last year, I think we were filling out the months as the time passed, because everyone works full time in their own companies. So then they have to find a month where they will be able to lead this comfortably. That means have the time for the call, the 2 or 3 calls a month, and then figuring out that the work via the Git issues is being completed. You know, it's not like lagging. So it's just a super fun thing, but it takes some time and dedication.
Yeah.
So Emily, if you go to the minutes, and thank you so much for sharing. My computer has not crashed. My new computer has not crashed. Oh, can you click in number 2? Become a marketing repo contributor. Can you click on that one, please?
The same.
Oh, it's in the minutes. Watchers, there you go, watchers. There. So you might think we take it for granted, but when we have the section that says on watch on the top, right? We have 30 watchers. That means that when a ticket is submitted or closed or something, these people chooses to get some form of notification. So an active contributor of MicroProfile and the marketing business side needs to become a watcher of this repo, right? It's a requirement under the responsibilities of steward, at least a steward. So everyone here, I think, John, you are, and Emily, you are. I'm not sure if Cesar, you are, because you're technical. But this is very important, and we will push it forward in 2022, because marketing uses Git issues. If it's not in the Git issue, it doesn't exist, right? Like the work shouldn't be happening. So that is the philosophy we have in how we have moved forward since 2019. Q4 of 2018. That's it. All right. So now we go into the fun things of section 3, book giveaway. And this is with Emily and 4 other amazing microprofilers.
Thank you. Yes.
Really, really amazing. So can you click on the request? the publisher, one of the publishers there, she is using discussions, which is super cool. This is under marketing discussions. It's the first time in since we created the repo that we have a discussion under marketing using the repository, which is like kudos to this person.
I told her to do so.
Oh, that is amazing. It's totally fantastic. Better than a Git issue.
Yeah,
Emily,
she asked me, I said, just go ahead to create this issue.
that is fantastic. This is better than a Git issue because a Git issue is a task. This is a conversation. So it's much better. So I was like, love, clearly. So we're talking, Emily, do you want to talk about the book that you are one of the contributors and the reasons behind this amazing opportunity for other technical coders to get the book for free? Do you want to go? I will go into mute so that you present the opportunity.
Yeah, so this book I co-authored, basically it's mainly is on the MicroProfile. I mean, all of the specs and with the MicroProfile 4.1, I think a majority of the content is about MicroProfile. So it's, I think John, you also reviewed it. Thank you for that. And the publisher is very keen to work with us. I think this is an ideal place for us to work together to properly promote this book and also give, some benefit to all of our Twitter handlers and etc. Twitter followers for MicroProfile to do a proper kind of marketing activity. So it's, as you can see, there's a quite good benefit. Discussed here. So that's kind of the Terry she's pretty good, and she's kind of on the ball and trying to spend time with us to see whatever we want, and we can go from there. Obviously, she's in India, so it's pretty late for her to join.
No, and so she doesn't have to join. I did invite her. All of us have invited her, but it's not necessary. We can work asynchronous. Thanks, Emily. So now we have 5 prints, 10 ebooks. And then the thought is, if there are 5 prints, we will follow up. If you go down into my comments, I did ask some questions, right? And they have not been answered yet. So then we will reiterate with less wording here. What we need to do is use social media, right? To push how to win the 5 books. First, the 5 books, right? So my questions are very quick because we were going off, right? In here. The things are, if there are 5 books, that means that the publication sends the books directly to the winners. So we don't have to worry about the logistics of shipping and the costs. They are global. We need to make sure that we follow up in this discussion and say, so the 5 books, can we assume that we cannot assume, we need to be certain that the 5 books will be shipped to the winners? And what we need to know is what are the requirements for those 5 winners? Do we have any requirements? That means aside for pushing for the publication logos and the book, are there any restrictions that we should be aware of? Because media will be a collaboration between MicroProfile and the publication. So then the message that we send for the ebooks is one, and for the print copy is another one. So I'm not sure, Emily, if you know anything.
I think it's for the ebook. It can be all the places is able to all they need to know is the email address. So she will send the email address. I think in return, she would like to get some review on the Amazon for this ebook. For the printer copy, I think it's can only ship to a certain country. I think Europe Union and USA and Canada, I think.
Mm-hmm. So then,
now we'll need to have a postal address. I can't remember clearly for the print copy.
So this is exactly what we need to know. So Emily, are you comfortable writing in the discussion and saying, and asking the following questions? What are the countries that are limited to receiving the book? Because we have 5 and we cannot just go and say, you will get a book globally. You see, in the message, we would need to be exact with what continents or countries, you know, I think it's a continent thing. So then she needs to let us know what are the limits on sending the 5 books, you know, restrictions, right? And would that amount will be covered by them, or do we need to worry about that? That means if we have to do the shipment, we can send it any place in the world, but that means someone needs to be in charge of that extra logistics, right? So we would prefer not to, and just allow the publication to send it off, which is much more neutral and in every level. And then can we confirm then that a review in Amazon by the other 10 ebooks is necessary as a requirement? What else will be a requirement? And then on the side of MicroProfile, what do we want microprofilers or Java users to do to gain these books, right? Like what are we going to ask? Because we have the ask by the publisher, and then now we need the ask by the working group. What are the asks? Are we, what are some ideas?
I don't know if there has to be an ask.
Jokes.
What?
Go ahead, Cesar.
Yeah, you know, contact with jokes could be one possible strategy.
Yeah, but how do we track that? So, Cesar, how do we track that? Because like onboarding onto JAGs is an effort that every JAG in the world is doing, and it's stabilizing now that there is some level of, you know, travel happening, a meeting in person for some.
Yeah, but for example, when I have been in jokes when, you know, the jokes are looking for a sponsorship and they approach to the publishers, right? In the same way, if MicroProfile will be delivering some kind of book giveaway or something, I think we need to provide a channel for them to communicate with us, and not just an email, because in an email you can or just a Git issue, it's fine, but we need to define the structure, what we're gonna ask. I recall that usually publishers, companies ask you for Twitter, the website, and once they review that the jokes exist and go to social media, then you have a reply. And obviously, some of them, you know, they do it in good faith, but some others request proof that you deliver the book, the license, whatever you're giving away in your job meetings or events. So I think that's why my first reaction was, okay, maybe we can do the same way companies offer to jobs some kind of support, right?
So Cesar, got it. I do understand it. What about, how do you feel? You're a lead of the Guatemalan JAG. If the book was able to be shipped to Guatemala, how comfortable do you think your organization will feel if they got one book that you can choose to give away to your community, right? And in a manner that promotes the initiative. That means not only the book and the authors, but also the sharing of this at a zero cost.
Yeah, usually what you see across Latin America is that obviously if there is just one license, there is a raffle within that event, and one person go away with that, right? With that activation code or something, because we haven't seen much physical books anymore. If we are talking about books, it's more about ebooks. So you get access to download the PDF version or whatever version right? And back in the days when things were physically, and I recall from JCP receiving, sending to the judge and receiving here in Guatemala, they sent like a kit back in the days that it could be as a NetBeans CD and a t-shirt. So that became 3 winners for 3 different raffles that attend to one of the judges meetings, right? In one book, something like that.
Oh, wow. So that is amazing. Okay, so you know, when we got this back in December, what I thought is everyone that wins this should be a jug globally. This includes the 5 books, and they do the distribution, and then we highlight whatever the winner is. We work in collaboration with the jug and the level of, they decide, you know, via raffles like Cesar says, you know, it's just easier because the problem with having MicroProfile be requiring things, it means that we have to set up something in place, and that will take a little bit of time, but we need to set up something in place that says, we want X from you. And until you get it done, you will, you know, we will select a winner after that. It might seem simple when we talk about t-shirts, but when it's about knowledge, it needs to be much more fluid, and the barrier needs to be lower. So when I saw this, I thought, wow, that would be a fantastic way for us to reach every jug in the world. Depending, you know, ebook is global. Like Emily says, only hopefully the email, right? So then, for instance, we have 3 jugs in the MicroProfile working group. Garden State, Atlanta, and iJug. They should have, in my biased opinion, 2 ebooks each. Then we leave 4 that we can choose, you know, from our active contributors. You know, we can see, maybe we gift Emerson and Edwin. You know, they have done a fantastic job as well, to thank them for their good job 2021. Can we be this bias? Are we comfortable with it? And this is the kind of conversations that we could bring, you know, for when we have more microprofilers in the call. But is there anything that of what I'm saying that will make any of you feel uncomfortable? Because this is the, you know, the brainstorming session.
I think all the ideas are good. The other thing I want to say is, although Terry said, okay, it's a 5 physical copy. I think I'm sure. I mean, if we think we want ebook more than print, and then maybe convert that into ebook as well, if we want.
Believe it or not, Emily, I think if because you are not one of the members, you know, I think 2 people ought to get those, at least 2 of those books, Emerson and Edwin. I'm super biased on this based on their work. It's technical. It's a technical book, correct?
Oh, you mean the print book?
Yes. And then if we are telling, maybe we convert, how much we can ask in the discussion, how much would it be for us to convert 3 paper copies to be, you know, to be into ebooks? Will 1 book converts into 3 or 4, depending on the price? And if that is the case, that is even more fantastic, because we can increase the jugs that we could partner with. And instead of individuals, let the jugs and the communities that they belong to, you know, be the happy winners of this. We're talking about Japan, Morocco, Portugal, Latin America. We have the, you know, the Spanish jug. We have Spain. So it's just super cool. That is a good idea, and we should consider, and we should ask as well. But is anyone against thinking that Emerson and Edwin shouldn't get the paper copies? Because I think it's so cool. And Emily, you will not be able to sign it, you know, but it would be so nice. It would be so nice if it was signed by the 4 of you. It's like, hey, MicroProfiler, you know, that's like a nice thing, right?
Yeah.
But the logistics are too high for it.
Yeah, if we saw them in conferences.
No, if it was, you know, I don't even think, like, there is a next conference, the Nexus, but it's looking very awful with the numbers. So, you know, those kind of events are nice for bringing books. Like MicroProfile could choose to buy some books from MicroProfilers, bring them to the events or work with the publications and then do signups during those events. We have done that. Companies usually do that in Java 1 and a few things, but I think we're far away from it. So how do we feel about this? Do we, Emily, we will write some notes, but do you believe that the ideas here, Cesar provided some ideas. John, do you have anything to say on this?
No, I don't necessarily like having gates to receive the book. I do like the idea of pushing out books to people that have contributed and stuff like that. So Emerson and Eric, I think, are very good ideas. Pushing it, sending it to the jugs, it's more, I think, just around marketing. Contributed by MicroProfile, right? Something like that, as opposed to saying, well, you have to
exactly
add a review or something. We would, the authors would greatly appreciate a review of the book. Incentives is really nice.
Yes.
So that's kind of where I'm at. I understand where Emily's at, right? Where the publishers, because I could talk to my, to Manning as well for the link I posted in the chat for the book that Ken and I wrote, right? And I suspect they might want the same thing. Well, they're going to have to, do a review or something. I haven't checked, right, with Manning, but I could. But I do like the idea of simply saying contributed by the MicroProfile community.
Exactly.
I get a little bit nervous about using MicroProfile funds to purchase books by authors.
We are not talking about that because that is super biased.
Exactly.
We are not talking about it. That would be biased.
I'm okay with bias. Just buy 100 copies. Right?
Of your
I'm
book.
perfectly okay
Of
with
your
that.
book, right?
Yeah, my book, exactly. No,
Thank you.
I wouldn't feel comfortable with that. More seriously, it just feels
Exactly.
wrong. But it's the interesting thing is I've got 10 books sitting downstairs. I got about a week ago, 10 copies they give to the authors. It's like I'm willing to contribute those, or at least some of them. I got to hand a few out, but contribute those to various, I don't know, jugs or whatever. I can just mail them out.
Yeah, like absolutely. So John, but your book is very general. It's not only MicroProfile. It's like different things.
Well, it's got a lot of Quarkus in it too, to be honest, right? So it does specifically cover intentionally, the MicroProfile APIs, right? All the core APIs, but it doesn't, in the context of Quarkus and Kubernetes. So it would fit the MicroProfile. It would be appropriate to say, this is from the MicroProfile community, because I can contribute those on behalf of the MicroProfile community.
And that is fantastic. So John, I didn't even know this was possible. I did wanted to congratulate you over Twitter when that came out, but it's like one thing and another. How comfortable are you? And Emily, we're not moving from your book, your book, but let's talk about John's book. John, you're comfortable committing a few books to the MicroProfile ecosystem, lower barrier, right?
Mm-hmm.
How comfortable are you? Do we need to, because you have 10 and you cannot contribute to 10 of them, but how comfortable are you to talk with your publisher and say, hey, this is a discussion we're having with another publisher. Will you be interested in doing something like this? And maybe bring
I can do that.
10 books, that the MicroProfile will discuss openly. And we would like to, globally support JAGs that are active with MicroProfile software and adoption.
Mm-hmm.
And can you do that? And there's no deadline, but you can create, and you can educate them as Emily has nicely done, use the discussions, and then that person can own whatever is necessary instead of you being the mediator.
So Emily, how many was the publisher willing to, I guess, contribute as long as there was reviews?
5.
How many books? 5 ebook, 5 copy, 5 physical copy, and 10 ebooks.
Okay,
Am I
so it's
right?
15 total. Okay.
Yeah. And they also saying $5 campaign on all packet books.
So yeah, there were 3 levels of her, let's do
Yeah.
something like this. She's saying $5 campaign for all books, not only MicroProfile. So we have 3 different levels. I think that the third one is going to be less likely, but because that is a campaign of a discount. And
So we could see $5 on this book as well, you know.
exactly.
Yeah.
$5 on the MicroProfile book.
So Emily, on that one, what I thought about is we need to write a Git issue, a new Git issue, because we have the campaign for the book going for all Q1. And then we can add a new one that says, get 5% off on this one and click here. We are not in charge of how the discount will happen, but we can ask, but the MicroProfile media can push this once a month and then allow the publisher to do their work. You see, there would be a link and some requirements, and we have nothing to say on that, right? Like, John is correct. I'm wary about asking someone that wins to write a review in Amazon, because sometimes you prefer to write a review on, on your own blog, right? Or something like, it's just like to purchase, you're not purchasing, but you're writing something. That means that that person needs to say, I want this book, and needs to tell the story of how they got the book and then what it was about the book that will make a reader buy it, right? That is like the person needs to be an extension of the selling. And it's just like a little bit awkward. So then my thought here is, can we ask via discussions in this, and I can ask Emily if you feel that, this shouldn't be you asking as the author, one of the authors. But Mike, are we comfortable to say, can we drop the Amazon reviews and explain, will that feel like fair? How fair is it, right?
Yeah.
Thanks, John. Yeah, John has to go 10 minutes.
John has to go. Yeah. So I think I agree. If you like, if the winner, you have to ask them something in return. You don't feel like they are the winner anymore.
Exactly. So
yeah, you can see this. We prefer, we would like this requirement
to be dropped.
On Amazon review to be dropped.
Yeah. So
okay.
My recommendation on what you wrote is, hold on, before you place comment, is to divide. Do you see my message to her is very long and she didn't answer any questions? So it's just, so I'm recommending that here, just divide it in 1, 2, 3. We have a few questions for her. So then you say question 1, question 2, and question 3. So then when she replies with quotes, she can go into that and say 1, 2, and it's just simpler.
Good point.
That's how we become a little bit better communicators. We all need help. Hello, here.
Absolutely.
This is so fun.
Yeah. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's totally okay. Let's comment. And Cesar, do you have anything else missing? Because I see this is great. Yeah.
No, it's fine. Thank you.
All right. So we will have the shipment location. You did say that you would like to know if taking 3 books from paper and making them ebooks is an option. And if it's an option, how many books will you write? That is a question number 4, actually. It's not included here.
Yeah.
Decide like right now.
3 copies.
The question will be, if conversion of 3, the question should be, if conversion of 3 paper copies into ebooks is possible, how many books would that be? Right? Because it's an if. We cannot dictate their, how they do things. We need to respect their operations, but we can ask if this is possible, you know,
How many ebooks can we?
secure.
If a conversion of 3 copies to ebooks is possible, how many ebooks can we get additionally?
Yeah, something like this. Mhm. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so I think this is great. Now I will write in the comments that, you know, John is going to go to his publisher and ask for this kind of things. I will tag John on that so that he knows it's being edited. I will copy paste your comments, you know, just point blank there so that we have it, because this was added under, you know, priorities for this call. And I think we should end the call now. It's just we definitely tagged for enough time. Is there anything else missing? Emily, can you go back to the minutes, please? And thanks so much for being the co-lead today. Yeah, I will fill this out, and then I will say not commented, and it will do all the things we usually do. For next call happens at the end of the month, which is still January. So it's perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So this is I think it was a great call. Good brainstorming, most of all. Thanks everyone for joining.
Yeah. By the way, I think in the next call, we also need to discuss, create one page to host the compatible implementations.
Correct.
I'm wondering where can I put that?
You need to put it under priorities, Emily.
Where should it be?
So what I'm going to do, not here, but if you want, you know, because we only got to a few topics. So go under this topic, the last one that we talked right now about the book. And then there, add it as, make that 5, and here, say something on the topic of compatibility page, because we do need it. MP5 was released in December, right? Yeah. And we need that page so that implementations can be added to that. And it's just common sense. Should be easier. So we will prioritize it to be done actually in early Q1. I don't think January, but early Q1, it will be completed.
And also we need to design a community logo for the compatible implementations. Correct.
And there are 2 tickets on that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the Git issue, pull in the ticket for not MP5. I think we should have like we have a ticket on their webpage for compatible implementations. And then we need the compatible implementation logo. It's not a logo, right? That is not a trademark. So we need to be very careful. I will reword what you wrote, Emily. It's not a trademark logo. So it needs to be very careful how we write it, right? Design a community logo for compatible, not trademark it, right? It's not a registered mark. It won't be a registered mark. That is perfect. I don't have to rewrite it anymore. And then like that, what I'm going to do is I go in there and I put all the things to say not discussed. So these items will become a priority for next call, right? Before we go into the regular things. And I will fill out with the Git issues that pertain to each of the conversations so that we do the follow-ups on the Git issues. Is that cool? And this is a really good call out, actually.
Okay, cool.
Yep. I think Caitlin had added that in the main area, but it doesn't belong in main area. It's a priority.
Yeah, absolutely. We just need to make it, we need to have something designed ASAP.
And it's going to be, I think this is going to be something that we will have to maintain. Sometimes we do PRs like we do for Jakarta. I have reminded everyone that Jonathan and Bill created the website for Jakarta, and we, through the marketing committee, decided to use PRs for that website so that community can write PRs, submit them, and it can be transforming, right? Now that it still happens, but the project pays the Eclipse Foundation for any changes. So it's really hard to do any changes on that website, even though it's PRs and, you know, things like this. With MicroProfile, what we can do for the compatible implementations is we can do something where maybe we accept PRs in the future, right? Because that will make it scalable, right? If you pass all these requirements, but we need to see what are the features and logistics that we wish to see, right? How fast do we want to go towards long-term or short-term? And I think this is going to be a short-term fix just because of that.
No, it should be a long term.
Yeah, it should be a long-term, but we do need it for MP5. We don't have it. So people are asking, oh, who is compatible and whatever. And it's going to take a while to do something that requires PRs because it requires back-end and front-end development and also volunteers. So I'm talking.
Oh, okay. You mean the short term for the design?
Yeah, it would be just Ryan.
Long term for the future releases.
Yes, yes.
It's
So we're
very
talking about maybe Tommy
Yeah.
Tribe at Ryan. We volunteered to do this because we said we will do it next year, last year, right? But we never got to the release.
Yeah.
Right? Short term, we have it personalized, like it needs a person. And in the future, we move it and make it so SPR. So committers are in charge
Yeah.
of publishing, which would be ideal.
Yeah, absolutely. Basically, if some company have certified, they can directly open a PR to
Yeah,
have
exactly.
added.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that is ideal. So that means we will need to create a draft document that set up the requirements short-term and long-term. Emily, you are welcome to do that. There is a website folder under the, you don't have to, but under the drive, and it says website. You can create a document. We have a document that says what we need, and it will be ideal to have something that says long-term, I can do it as well. But this will be something that I imagine we will have to do really quickly. One page,
Yeah.
move on. All right.
Yeah.
So
We can discuss more next week. Not next week, next meeting.
yeah, next meeting. That should be fun. Really good
Okay,
call,
great.
everyone.
Yeah, great. Enjoy your holiday. Enjoy your holiday.
Enjoy. Bye-bye.
Amelia
Thank you so
and,
much. And Emily, thanks so much for sharing. My Mac didn't crash. It's updating Zoom as we speak. It's saying updates. So I really appreciated you sharing while everything is going crazy here.
no
You're
problem.
awesome.
Yeah,
Mwah.
thank
See you soon.
you. Yeah,
Bye.
take care. Bye.